screen is visible to all of you?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Are there more to join? We have studied about neutralization reaction. It is basically a reaction between acid and a base to form salt and water. It is also a double displacement reaction. So all the neutralization reactions can be taken as examples of double displacement reaction. But all double displacement reactions are not neutralization reactions. Only the reactions in which acids and bases are reacting, they can be considered as neutralization reactions. And the common thing that is present between acids and bases is hydrogen. So in acids, hydrogen is present in the form of H plus ion, whereas in bases, it is present in a radical form, that is OH minus, and the presence of hydrogen is associated with oxygen in the bases. The acids and bases, when dissolved in water, they dissociate. They dissociate means they split to form ions, and these ions help in showing the changes with the indicators, be it litmus or any other indicator. These ions also help in conducting electricity. So, yes?
We can't see the screen, ma'am.
Ma'am, we can see the PPT.
You can't see the PPT?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is it visible now?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
One second. Is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So I was discussing these points that acid reacts with base to form salt and water. Neutralization reaction is also known as double displacement reaction. Here I already told you that all neutralization reactions are double displacement reactions, but all double displacement reactions are not neutralization reactions. Only the double displacement reactions in which an acid is reacting with a base, that only can be considered as neutralization reaction. Now, the common thing that is present between acids and bases is the presence of hydrogen. Hydrogen is present in acids in the form of H plus ion, whereas in bases it is present in the form of a radical, which is OH minus, where hydrogen is associated with oxygen. And these acid and bases, when dissolved in water, dissociate to form ions. That means they split to form ions. The ions formed during dissociation helps as things which shows changes in indicators, and it also helps in conducting electricity. Now, in the last slide of previous session, remember, I have shown you three arrangements of cells which is similar to electrolytic cell, in which the electrolyte was an acid or a base, and there was one cathode and anode. The electrolyte that was present, the acid or the base, was dissolved in water so that it will dissociate and ions will be formed. And mostly the positively charged ions move towards the negative terminal, and the negatively charged ions move towards the positive terminal, thereby helping the movement of or the formation of electricity. And they conduct electricity in this way. Moving forward for today's session, we are going to learn today about pH and the role of H plus ion in determining the pH of a particular substance, and how the pH helps us to analyze the concentration or strength of an acid or a base. In the previous chapter, that is chemical reaction, you have seen acids and bases to be present in concentrated form, in dilute form. In concentrated form, the percentage of acid or base is much higher than the amount of water which is present in that form. So mostly if it is 99% concentrated acid or base, then only 1% of water is present in that particular sample. Whereas when it comes to dilute, it becomes completely opposite. The amount of acid or base present goes down, whereas the amount of water in which it is dissolved goes up. So concentration of acid and base actually depends upon the amount of hydrogen present in a particular sample. Moving forward, how strong is an acid or a base? Now, if I say HCl, is it a strong acid or a weak acid?
Strong acid.
Strong acid.
Strong acid, correct.
Strong.
Same time, if I say vinegar, is it a strong acid?
Weak
Weak
acid.
It's a
acid.
weak acid.
It's a weak acid. So what is making you to think HCl is a strong acid and vinegar is a weak acid? First of all, we say that vinegar is edible, so it is weak acid. Second thing is that vinegar is present in a very dilute form. That means the acetic acid present in vinegar is a very diluted form of acetic acid. So the strength of an acid or a base is determined on the amount of H plus or OH minus ion present in them. Now more is the ion, more is the strength. So when I'm diluting a particular acid or a base, I'm adding water to it. And water is a neutral substance. It is not providing any kind of H plus or OH minus ion in a particular sample. But it is increasing the mass of a particular sample. So what is happening in the total solution? The number of H plus or OH minus ion is going down when we are adding water. And that's how the strength of the acid or the base is getting added, is getting reduced. So more the water is getting added, more will be the strength of the acid and the base getting reduced. Correct, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
So the strength of the chemical is measured in the pH scale. pH stands for power of hydrogen. That means how many hydrogen ions are present. And pH is considered as a universal indicator. Let me tell you, universal indicator means an indicator which is made out of combination of many indicators, so that it acts on every single acidic or basic substance which comes in contact with it. But for pH, even the neutral substance also shows that the substances are neutral in nature. So many indicators are combined to form the pH indicator. Now this pH indicator can be available in liquid form also, or it can be coated on paper and it can be turned into pH paper. Like how you have seen previously, litmus is available in liquid form also. Litmus solution can be coated on any paper and we turned it into a litmus paper. So in the same way, pH is also available in both the forms. If it is a pH paper, we are supposed to dip the pH paper in water, in the sample. And if it is a pH solution, then we are supposed to add drop by drop the sample to the solution to see the change in color. Now in litmus paper or litmus solution, can anybody say that what are the two different color differences that we see?
Ma'am,
Red and blue.
Red and blue. But in pH paper, there is a wide range of colors that we see, which helps us to identify the exact strength of an acid. Like if I dip litmus paper in acetic acid and in the laboratory acetic acid in vinegar, for both of the cases, the blue litmus will turn into red, indicating that both of them are acidic in nature. But that will not give me an idea that which is vinegar and which is the acetic acid present in the lab, because the acetic acid present in the lab is a concentrated acetic acid, whereas the one which is present in vinegar is dilute. So pH paper helps us to identify whether a particular substance is acidic or base. But sorry, litmus paper helps us to identify whether a particular substance is acidic or base. But pH paper also helps us to identify how strong is the acid or how strong is the base. Moving forward to the next slide. Nice. This is how the concentration of hydrogen helps in determining in the pH paper. The scale, if you see, it starts
Ma'am,
with
we can't see the screen, ma'am.
in one second. Is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
This
ma'am.
is how the pH paper looks like. The variation of pH looks like. The count starts from 0 and it ends at 14. And at the center, there is 7. So from 0 to 6, we can have acidic substances. From 8 to 10, to 14, we can have basic substances. And 7 is the neutral substance. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
when I say 0 to 6, it is actually going from 0 to 6.9. That means the acidity can vary from 0 to 6.9. Whereas here, when I say basicity, it can start from 7.1 to 14. Now, why I am saying that 0 to 6.9? Because after 6.9, the count will change into 7. And as soon as the count changes into 7, it becomes a neutral substance. Again, when the count changes from 7.1, it becomes slightly basic. Now, if I take into whole numbers into consideration, then it will go as from 0 to 6. Out of this 0 to 6, we can say that the chemicals which show the reading as, one second, the chemicals which show the reading as 0 to 3, 0, 1, 2 and 3 are considered as strong acids. The chemicals which show the pH from 4, 5 to 6, 4, 5 and 6, they are considered as weak acids. 7 is neutral. 7 is neutral. The chemicals which show 8, 9, 10 are considered as weak bases. And the chemical which comes as 11, 12, 13, 14 are considered as strong bases. Yes? So here I have shown you gastric juice is 2 in pH reading. Gastric juice is inside human body. So how strong is gastric juice which is inside human body? So 1, 2, 3 will be considered as strong acid. Again, 4 to 6 will be considered as weak acid. Yes? 7 is considered as neutral. In the same way in bases, 8 to 10 will be considered as weak base, whereas 11 to 14 will be considered as strong base. So in the pH scale, if the reading goes from 1 to 3, we can consider it as a strong acid. If the reading goes from 11 to 14, we can consider it as strong base. If the reading goes from 4 to 6, we say it weak acid. If the reading goes from 8 to 10, we say it weak base. More closer to the neutral, that is 7, it is considered as weak. Farther from the neutral, that is 7, it is considered as strong. Moving forward, this is how the pH scale looks like. Now you can see there is a wide range of colors, right from dark red to purple. And in between there are shades of orange, yellow, green, and different shades of blue as well. Now battery acid, which is used in the vehicles or in our inverters, it shows an acidity of 1. Hydrochloric acid 3. Now this hydrochloric acid also is something which is little dilute. If you say 99% of hydrochloric acid, it will go to 1. Now coming to acid rain, it is 5. Whereas your pure water, that is distilled water, is exactly 7. Now pure water or distilled water is 7, but not our tap water. Tap water do contain certain electrolytes dissolved in it. So tap water always ranges little less than 7. That goes to 6.8, 6.9 like that. Human blood is considered to be neutral, but it is not exactly neutral. Human blood's pH also goes from 7.3 to 7.5. Hence, we can say that it is slightly basic in nature. Very mild, but not exactly neutral. In the same way, if you see milk of magnesia, which is an antacid, has the pH level of 10, which is mild. That's why it is used for edible purpose. But if you see soapy water, it is 12, which is a strong base. That's why if you use too much of soap, the skin becomes rough. Because it's a strong base, it burns your skin, therefore making it a rough, giving it a rough texture. Bleach. If you remember in the slide when we had studied about the reactions of acid and bases, I have told you about a compound called borax. Borax, something which helps in taking out the mosses, is a kind of bleach. And you can see how basic it is. It is a strong base. Even sodium hydroxide, which is a laboratory base, ranges from 12 to 13 based on the concentration of the base. Now, is this clear to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Having any doubt in this?
No, ma'am.
Yes. I will also share the first experiment that is there in your lab manual, which is based on the pH scale. We will see the video for that. Let me share the video with you.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, the textbook will also have 0.
Who is this, first of all?
Ma'am, Yuvika.
Yuvika, your voice is cracking a bit. Can you just repeat your question?
Ma'am, the textbook for the pH scale will also have 0.
Yeah, 0 also is there. That's why if you remember in the previous slide, I have, okay, I missed out here 0. Clear now?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, let us see the video. which is showing the first experiment of your lab manual, determination of pH. All of you are able to see?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Determination of pH of various solutions using pH paper and the indicator. Now the aim is to find pH of dilute HCl. Then you have dilute solution of sodium hydroxide. Then you have dilute solution of acetic acid, which is vinegar, or acetic acid is also called as ethanoic acid. Then you have lemon juice. Then you have water. Then you have dilute solution of sodium bicarbonate, which is baking soda. They have asked you to use universal indicator or pH paper. Universal indicator is nothing but the liquid form of pH. Now, you are asked to take the test tubes, clean test tubes, dropper, white glazed tile, and pH paper, or the universal indicator with distilled water. Now, can anyone wildly guess why do we need a white glazed tiles?
Ma'am, so that we can see the color change clearly.
Yes, so that we can see the color change clearly. If you remember, when we have studied about neutralization reaction in the previous session, in that reaction also, the beaker in which the acid and the bases were getting added was kept on a white paper. So whenever there is a change of color, it is always done with a background of white so that the change of color can be seen very precisely. Now, the procedure that is there is you have to take the pH paper, and in each of the test tubes, you are supposed to first supposed to label them A, B, C, D, E, F and keep it serially so that when you keep samples, it is easier for you to identify. Now here, the thing is very important to keep it in a proper order because most of these solutions are colorless. So once you pour it in the test tubes, it becomes highly confusing to understand which sample is which one until you label them properly. So before the testing itself, in the proper sequence, the test tubes have to be kept so that when you do this experiment, you will understand that which sample is showing what kind of change and what is the sample in that particular test tube. Now after that, 10 ml of each of the solution has been taken. The pH paper is placed on the white tiles so that the change of color can be seen. With the dropper, the sample is taken and 1 or 2 drops of the sample is poured on the pH paper. The pH paper immediately shows the change in the color, which you can match with the pH strip that is present with the pH paper. Every bundle of pH paper is provided with this color strip on the cover itself so that you can compare. Now, HCl showed red color, which was 1, whereas NaOH showed 14, a purple one. Is it clear to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
That's how the sample will be showing all the different samples will be showing different kind of color differences. Now, in that experiment, there was hydrochloric acid, which is quite concentrated. So it went to 1. There was NaOH, which showed 14. There was one more sample, which is water, tap water. Distilled water. Where do you think the distilled water will, what number the distilled water will show?
7.
Yes, distilled water will show 7. Now, there was lemon juice also. Lemon juice, which contains citric acid. Now, this list doesn't contain citric acid, but in your book, citric acid is there. So can you refer your book and tell me what is the pH concentration of citric acid?
Ma'am, it's
It's
2.
2.
2. Now, lemon is a edible acid, but the acidity is 2. So do you think that it is easy to consume lemon?
No, ma'am. No.
Correct?
No,
But
ma'am.
still we consume. The reason is that when we consume lemon, we put lemon either to make lemonade where it is getting added to water, or maybe to some dish like lemon rice where it is getting added to rice and all different ingredients that are present. So the lemon juice is always edible in a very dilute form by us. But the same lemon, if you directly squeeze in your mouth or you chew, what will happen? The teeth will experience the sharpness of acid, because of which it will give a very sensitive sensation to your mouth. And most of the time, your eyes will be in a very horrified way because of the strength of the acid present in it. Yes, children?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Next slide. So why do we need to learn about pH after doing all these things? Because if a substance is acidic, how is it going to help us? There is certain importance of pH in our day-to-day life. A human body works with a very narrow pH of 5.0 to 5.8, and it includes most of the life processes. So the acidity in the human body generally helps in better functioning of the body. The plant that we grow also grows with a specific pH in the soil. Now, if the soil pH is disturbed, the plant dies, which happens in case of acid rain. Acid rain, in the previous slide, if you remember, acid rain takes the pH level down to 5 or maybe less than 5. When the pH level of the soil goes to 5 or less than 5, then the growth of plant in such kind of soil becomes impossible, and the plants which are already present in that part of the soil will start dying because of the high acidity of the soil. The human stomach pH ranges from 1.5 to 3. This depends on how much acid is getting accumulated in your stomach. Human stomach, which acid is present in human stomach? Yes?
Yeah.
Ma'am, 1.5 to 3.
No, which acid is present in human stomach?
HCl.
HCl. So if HCl is present in lot of amount, then the concentration can go down as much as 1.5. Whereas if it is normal condition also, then also the pH will be 3. So if you don't eat at the particular time and HCl is getting accumulated in your stomach, you can understand that the stomach experiences acidity of the acid, and we start suffering from acidity. This acidity in human stomach can be neutralized by antacids like milk of magnesia. If you remember, milk of magnesia has the pH of
And
pH of 10 or 11, ranging from 8. So milk of magnesia is able to neutralize this acidity that is created because of accumulation of HCl. Now comes the food particles. After every time we eat something, we are supposed to rinse our mouth. At night, we are supposed to brush also. It is only because when the food particles are stuck in the teeth, it starts decaying. This decaying or degradation of the food particles releases acid, which lowers the pH of the mouth to 5.5. Now, the teeth in our mouth is made up of one of the strongest element, which is a carbonate of calcium, and it is the coating, that is tooth enamel. The coating or the carbonate of calcium is so strong that it doesn't dissolve with water, or it doesn't breaks down easily. But what happens when the food particles is lower, the degrading or the decaying food particles is lowering the pH to 5.5, automatically what is happening? The acids are formed inside our mouth. These acids are strong enough to corrode the tooth enamel. And when the tooth enamel corrodes, it causes tooth decay, because of which we suffer a lot. So food particles, when decays or degrades inside our mouth, it lowers down the pH level of the mouth, and this causes tooth decay. The last one is the self-defense mechanism of animals, in which many animals sting or they bite. In both the cases, it is production of either a strong acid or a base. And because of the stings or bites, we suffer or we experience a severe pain. That pain is because of the base or the strong acid which is being created. Why I am telling here base or acid? Now, if you see ant bites or the bee bites, they contain an acid called formic acid. There is one more example in the book about a leaf bite. Can somebody tell me the name of that plant?
Nettle leaves.
Nettle leaf bite, which is also dangerous as it produces acid. But in the same way, wasp is an insect which also stings, but it doesn't poke acid in the body. It pokes a strong base in the body. So these animal stings or bites normally helps them to inject a very strong acid or base in the person's body, because of which we experience a severe pain. Now, if it is an acidic substance which has been injected, then how to cure that? We can cure that with normal bases that are available at home, like toothpaste or baking soda. Now, baking soda, which is a base, neutralizes the acid of the bee sting or the nettle leaf sting, because of which the pain reduces and the neutralization reaction happens. If it is a basic substance like wasp sting, then we can use lime juice to reduce the basicity of the poison and to make it a neutralized substance. In case of tooth decay, the acidity of the tooth decay can be reduced with the help of toothpaste. That's why most of the toothpaste are basic in nature. So once in the morning when you brush your teeth, you are actually neutralizing the interior of your mouth so that the ill effect of the decaying food particles can be stopped. When it comes to acidity of the human stomach, the consumption of antacid like milk of magnesia helps us to neutralize the acidity in the stomach, thereby making it a comfortable or soothing experience. When it comes to pH for the soil in which the plant is growing, if the acidity is increased, then to reduce the acidity, the simple way that farmers use is to add chalk powder or lime. Both of them are basic in nature, cheaply available, and can be used in a bulk so that the pH of the soil can be neutralized and the acidity in the soil can be removed. Now, am I clear on all these points of pH?
Yes.
Ma'am.
Yes. Anyone having
Ma'am.
doubt?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Ma'am, in the
Farhan?
PPT, ma'am, in the PPT, it is written that our body works well within the range of 5 to 5.8, but in the book, it is written 7 to 7.8.
Sorry, I typed it wrong. Sorry. Correct. Okay, Farhan?
Yes.
Anybody else? Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Dan?
Yes, ma'am.
Can no doubt, so I can ask questions?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Maisha,
Yes, ma'am.
what is a neutralization reaction?
Ma'am, a neutralization is a reaction where acids and bases cancel each other out or neutralize each other
To form?
to form salt and water.
Done. Sidra, example of neutralization reaction? Sidra joined today?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Sidra, example of neutralization reaction?
Reaction of hydrochloric acid
Yes, the hydrochloric acid with?
with
Reaction of hydrochloric acid with sodium hydroxide. Yes?
yes, ma'am.
What will be the result that will be formed, or what are the end products?
Sodium hydroxide.
No, reaction of hydrochloric acid plus sodium hydroxide results in formation of
Sodium chloride.
yes, sodium chloride
Hydrogen.
and water, Sidra.
Oh, sorry, ma'am.
Yes, repeat once again.
The reaction of hydrochloric acid and sodium chloride results in
To form?
sodium chloride and water.
Done. Now, my next question, Hafsa, are you there in the Zoom meeting? Hafsa? Okay. Next question, Jyotsna.
Yes, ma'am.
What happens when an acid or a base is dissolved in water?
Ma'am, the acidity or basicity reduces.
Yes. And why does it reduces?
Because the water is a almost a neutral component, so its acidity or basicity reduces.
Okay. The acidity and basicity is reducing because the amount of the H plus or OH minus ions present in it is also getting reduced in comparison to the total amount of the mass of the solution. Yes? Now, Jyotsna.
Yes, ma'am.
Jyotsna is done. Pranavi,
Yes, ma'am.
what is the ion present in the acid, or what is the ion present in the base, which helps us to determine the strength of it?
Ma'am, it is H plus or OH minus ion.
Yes. Where do you find H plus and where do you find OH minus?
Ma'am, H plus is found in acids and OH minus is found in bases.
Correct. Next question goes to Dishita. Dishita, how will you
Yes, ma'am.
the strength of a strength of an acid or a base with the amount of H plus and OH minus ion?
Ma'am, To find that, we use the pH, which is the universal indicator. pH comes in liquid form or comes as pH paper.
Okay. No, I am asking you, how will you relate? What is the relationship between the H plus OH minus ion present and the strength of a chemical?
Okay, the more the H plus ion, the more the acidity or the acid strength of the solution, and the more OH minus, the more the strength of the basic solution.
Correct. So basically we can say that the amount of H plus or OH minus ion is directly proportional to the strength of the acid or the base respectively. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Correct. Next question goes to Karun.
Yes, ma'am.
Karun,
Yes, ma'am.
the full form of pH? Karun, the full form of pH? See the screen, Karun, full form of pH?
Potential of hydrogen
Karun,
or power of hydrogen, sorry.
power of hydrogen. Yes? Now next question goes to Farhan. Farhan, in the screen or in the slide, it is already mentioned that pH is a universal indicator. Why pH is called as a universal indicator?
pH is a universal indicator because it is made up of many indicators, and it can act on anything and tell that if it's basic or acidic in nature.
Yes. So pH can show the change in color in any substance, whether it is acidic, basic or neutral in nature, as it is made out of combination of many different indicators. Correct. My next question goes to Dharmin. Dharmin, are you there? Dharmin?
Yes, ma'am.
Dharmin, in the pH paper, what from 0 to 6.9, what kind of nature do we find?
Acidic.
And from 7.1 to 14?
Basic.
So what is happening to the H plus ion concentration in these two cases?
The H plus ions are getting reduced.
In which case
0 to 7.
is getting reduced in 0 to 7? Dharmin, see the slide. I'm sharing the slide also.
Yes, it is getting reduced.
H plus ion is getting reduced in which case?
In the first case. Second case. In the second case.
Yes, second case. That is from 7.1 to 14. H plus ion is increasing in which case?
The first case.
First case, that is 0 to 6.9. Yes. Next, my question goes to Ubaid. Ubaid, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Ubaid, if a substance is having pH of 3, another substance is having pH of 6, which one is a strong acid and which one is a weak acid?
Ma'am, the substance which is having the pH scale of 3 is stronger, while the other one of 6 is weaker.
Okay. My next question goes to Sarvajit. Sarvajit, a sample is having pH of 9. A sample is having pH of 13. Which one is a strong base? Which one is a weak base?
The pH 13 is a stronger one and the pH 9 is a weaker one.
Yes. My next question goes to Varda. Varda, looking into the pH scale, can you tell me that what is the pH of pure water?
Ma'am, it's 7.
The other name for pure water is?
Ma'am, it is, I know this. Ma'am, it is the normal water, that's it.
No, it is distilled water.
Distilled water.
Distilled water. Yes?
Yes.
Next question goes to Nida. Nida, what is the pH of ammonia?
Who's the one?
Nida, what
Ma'am, she's not in the meeting.
is not there? Okay. Jheel, is Jheel there?
Yes, ma'am.
Jheel, what is the pH of ammonia?
11.
11. Sufia, is Sufia there?
Yes, ma'am.
Sufia, what is the pH of coffee?
Black. It's 5.
It's not 5. It's 12.
6.
Yes, 6. Done. Am I left with anybody to ask any question? Did I leave any child? Vaishnavi? Vaishnavi?
Yes, ma'am.
What is the pH of human body? What is the pH of human body, Vaishnavi?
Ma'am, from the pH range is from 7.0 to 7.8.
Yes. Next question goes to Shyamak. Shyamak, what is the pH of human stomach?
Ma'am, it's 1.5 to 3.
Why the pH is low in human stomach? What is the acid present in human stomach?
HCl.
Yes. Next goes to Shivani. Shivani, if the pH of the mouth is getting reduced to 5.5, which is highly acidic, how can we neutralize it?
By using toothpaste.
Shivani, can you be a little loud?
By using toothpaste.
Using toothpaste, correct. So I hope this topic for pH is clear with all of you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Time is also up, so we will end the session today here and we will continue in the next session. Thank you, children.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
ma'am.
Ranya ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome. Welcome.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Welcome.